Let me start with this truth. Feelings are powerful, but they are terrible leaders. If your life is being driven by how you feel, then your future is being negotiated every single day. And the problem with negotiation is this: your emotions will always argue for comfort, not for growth. You don't become great by doing what feels good. You become great by doing what is right, necessary, and aligned with purpose. Here's the hook. Successful people don't feel their way into action. They act their way into new feelings. Motivation doesn't come first. Discipline does. You don't wait until you feel confident to move forward. Confidence is the reward for moving forward. Feelings say rest. Purpose says rise. And purpose must always have the final word. Your feelings are temporary, but your future is permanent. Think about it. If every athlete only trained when they felt like it, there would be no champions. If every entrepreneur only worked when they were inspired, there would be no empires. Progress doesn't respond to emotions. Progress responds to decisions. Decide to show up, decide to do the work, decide to keep going when it's uncomfortable. Let me be clear. Your feelings are valid, but they are not authoritative. You can feel tired and still be disciplined. You can feel afraid and still move forward. You can feel uncertain and still take the next step. Growth lives on the other side of emotional resistance. The moment you stop letting your mood vote on your mission, your life begins to shift. Here's another hook. Every time you obey your feelings instead of your purpose, you delay your destiny. Feelings change with the weather, with people, with circumstances. Purpose is rooted in vision, and vision demands consistency. When you build the habit of acting regardless of emotion, you build momentum, and momentum changes everything. Feelings are powerful. They color your perception, they influence your choices, and they can be intensely persuasive. But here's the truth. Most people never grasp feelings are signals, not commands. They are messages, not mandates. Too many people live their entire lives being controlled by how they feel in the moment, and that's why progress remains elusive. Think about it. If you waited for the perfect feeling to start a business, write a book, or chase a goal, nothing would ever happen. Feelings are fleeting. They fluctuate like the weather. One minute you're confident, the next minute you're fearful. One minute you're inspired, the next minute you're doubtful. If you allow your emotions to dictate your decisions, you will live in a state of constant hesitation. Your feelings will become the enemy of your ambition. Here's a hook for you. The most successful people don't wake up every day feeling motivated, fearless, or ready. No. They wake up with a choice. They choose action over comfort, commitment over feelings, and purpose over mood. Feelings are temporary, but decisions are permanent. When you recognize that your emotions are signals rather than orders, you reclaim control over your life. You can feel tired, anxious, or unsure and still move forward. You can feel fear and still take the next step. You can feel overwhelmed and still do what is necessary. That is the difference between someone who reacts to life and someone who designs it. Consider this. If every athlete allowed their feelings to decide their training, no one would ever achieve greatness. The champion isn't the one who feels motivated every morning. The champion is the one who shows up day after day, regardless of mood. If you let your feelings decide when to act, you are essentially surrendering your power to something unstable, unpredictable, and uncontrollable. You are giving a temporary state of mind the ability to dictate the trajectory of your life. That's like handing the steering wheel of a car to a passenger who constantly changes their mind. Your future deserves better than that. Let me give you another hook, Feely. NGS are like weather reports. They tell you what's happening in the moment, but they don't determine your path. Rain doesn't cancel your responsibilities, and fear doesn't cancel your destiny. Learning to observe your feelings without obeying them is a skill that separates the average from the extraordinary. It's the bridge between potential and achievement. The moment you start treating your emotions as signals rather than directives, you begin to operate from a place of intentionality. You act strategically, not reactively. You prioritize long-term results over short-term comfort. Here's something most people overlook. When you follow feelings blindly, you are also surrendering your identity. You are saying, I am a passenger in my own life. But the reality is, you are the driver. Your feelings may try to convince you otherwise, whispering doubts, insecurities, or excuses, but those whispers are not reality. They are reflections of temporary states that have no authority over the commitments you've made, the vision you're pursuing, or the life you're capable of creating. Your power lies in the ability to act in spite of what you feel. Ask yourself this question. Do you want a life dictated by moods or a life designed by purpose? Every decision you make based on fleeting emotion is a vote for stagnation. Every decision you make in spite of how you feel is a vote for growth, progress, and excellence. There is a difference between respecting your emotions and obeying them. Respecting them allows you to acknowledge them, process them, and learn from them. Obeying them allows them to control you, to derail you, and to keep you stuck. Here's the final hook for this thought. Emotions are a compass, not a roadmap. They indicate direction, but they do not carry you there. It's your actions, your choices, and your consistency that actually move you forward. The sooner you internalize this truth, the sooner you will stop letting your feelings run your life and start letting your purpose drive your destiny. Greatness is never born from emotions. It is forged in discipline, perseverance, and the unshakable refusal to let temporary feelings dictate permanent outcomes. Motivation is a fickle friend. It comes when it wants to, disappears when you need it most, and often leaves you stranded in the middle of your goals. That's why relying on motivation alone is a recipe for inconsistency. Motivation feels good. It can light a fire. It can inspire you to start, but it rarely sustains the hard, long-term work necessary to achieve real success. Discipline, on the other hand, is the engine that never quits. Discipline is not emotional. It doesn't ask for permission from how you feel. It doesn't wait for the perfect moment or the perfect mood. Discipline shows up when it's inconvenient, when it's uncomfortable, and when your feelings are screaming for you to stop. Here's the truth. Motivation may spark the flame, but discipline keeps the fire burning. Let me give you a hook that will hit hard. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is almost never talent. It's discipline. Many people have incredible ideas, amazing potential, and even a burning desire to succeed, but they lack the consistency to act when motivation fades. When the excitement wears off, when the thrill of starting something new diminishes, motivation leaves. That's when discipline steps in. Discipline says, I will show up anyway. I will do the work anyway. I will take the next step even if I don't feel like it. Discipline is the invisible force that separates wishful thinking from real results. Think about the most successful people you know, the ones who have built empires, transformed communities, or achieved mastery in their craft. Did they wait until they were inspired? Did they wait until they felt like it? No. They made a commitment and they honored it relentlessly. That's the secret. The world rewards action, not feelings. Motivation is fleeting, but the habits built through discipline compound exponentially over time. That one small action you take consistently every single day creates results that motivation alone could never deliver. Here's another hook. Discipline creates freedom. It may sound counterintuitive, but think about it. When you rely on motivation, you are a slave to your emotions. You rise and fall with every mood. When you rely on discipline, you take control. You create routines and systems that keep you moving forward, even when life is messy, when obstacles appear, or when your energy is low. You become unstoppable because your success is no longer dependent on something as unreliable as how you feel in the moment. Discipline also builds confidence. Every time you do what you committed to do, even when you didn't feel like it, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. Motivation can never give you that same level of trust in yourself. Motivation is an external spark. Discipline is an internal backbone. It is the quiet, steady force that accumulates victories, builds resilience, and turns dreams into reality. Those who rely solely on motivation are always waiting for external validation, while those who cultivate discipline command their own destiny. Here's the hard truth for you. There will always be days when you don't feel like it. There will always be distractions, setbacks, and moments when giving up feels like the easier option. That's exactly why discipline is essential. Discipline doesn't negotiate, it doesn't compromise, and it doesn't take a break. It is the anchor that holds you steady through storms. It is the habit of showing up when everyone else has walked away. And it is the habit that multiplies results far beyond anything motivation alone could ever achieve. Let me hit you with another hook. You can't rely on feelings to build an empire, write a book, grow a business, or transform your life. Motivation will betray you, but discipline will deliver. It is the bridge between desire and achievement, the difference between dreaming and doing, and the secret weapon of anyone who achieves extraordinary results. Discipline outperforms motivation because it doesn't care about mood, circumstance, or comfort. It only cares about action, consistency, and results. Confidence is one of those things people think you are either born with or without, but that is a misconception. True confidence doesn't appear out of thin air. It doesn't arrive in your life because you feel ready, capable, or inspired. It kills fear. Fear is always loudest before you start. It whispers doubts, magnifies risks and tells you all the reasons not to move. But here's the hook: fear is lying. Fear thrives on inaction. The moment you take the first step, fear loses its power. When you act, your mind experiences proof. You see that you can handle more than you imagine. You discover resources within yourself you didn't know existed. You learn, adapt, and grow through doing, not wishing. Each step forward chips away at insecurity and builds confidence that cannot be borrowed, faked, or delayed. Consider the people who achieve extraordinary success. They are not necessarily braver or smarter than everyone else. Their difference is that they have acted again and again, often in uncertainty and discomfort. They took the first step when others hesitated. They did the work when others waited. That action became their confidence, and that confidence propelled them forward. Here's the hook: action creates momentum, momentum creates results, and results create unshakable belief in yourself. Confidence is the byproduct of doing, not the prerequisite. Another critical insight is that confidence built from action is resilient. Temporary feelings can be deceiving, but confidence earned through effort is permanent. Even when circumstances change, even when setbacks occur, the proof of what you've accomplished remains. You can fall, fail, or struggle, but you cannot unlearn the lessons of action. Each time you act in spite of doubt, you teach yourself that you are capable of more than your mind initially believed. That lesson is transferable, repeatable, and life-changing. Here's a final hook for this principle: stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for courage to arrive as a visitor. Stop hoping inspiration will magically spark confidence. The secret is simple: take action. Move first, step forward, begin, even if you feel unsure. Your confidence will follow, stronger with every decision, every effort, and every victory earned through doing. Action doesn't just build confidence, it is the foundation of confidence. And it is the engine that will carry you to levels of success that hesitation and waiting could never reach. Comfort is one of the most dangerous traps in life. It lulls people into a false sense of security, convinces them that staying where they are is safe, and whispers lies that growth can wait. But here's the hook: the life you desire, the impact you want to make, and the success you're capable of achieving will never be found in comfort. Comfort is temporary, convenient, and seductive, but it is the enemy of progress. Purpose, on the other hand, demands movement. It demands sacrifice. It requires that you choose action over ease, long-term results over short-term pleasure, and vision over comfort. Think about it. Every great leader, entrepreneur, or change maker achieved what they did because they prioritized purpose over comfort. They didn't ask themselves whether it felt good, whether it was convenient, or whether they were ready. They made a commitment to their vision, and that commitment demanded action, even in the face of discomfort. Here's another hook: comfort will whisper, wait, rest, don't rock the boat. Purpose will shout, rise, move, lead. If you obey comfort instead of purpose, you will remain stuck in mediocrity, always wondering what could have been. Here's the truth most people don't want to face: growth is uncomfortable. Mastery requires struggle. Success demands sacrifice. If you are unwilling to leave the easy path, you will never experience the extraordinary. The reason so many people fail to reach their potential is not lack of talent, intelligence, or opportunity. It is lack of willingness to choose purpose over comfort consistently. Purpose is not optional. It is the compass that guides you through adversity, the engine that drives you forward when the road is hard, and the reason you continue when you're feeling scray. To stop, let me give you a hook that hits deep. Comfort is a temporary illusion, but purpose is a permanent compass. When you prioritize ease over vision, you trade the extraordinary for the ordinary. You trade fulfillment for convenience. You trade legacy for leisure. And in that trade, you pay a cost far greater than anything the effort of stepping into discomfort would have demanded. Every time you choose purpose over comfort, you strengthen your resolve, sharpen your discipline, and move one step closer to the life you were meant to live. Purpose is also what gives your actions meaning when everything else feels heavy. There will be days when the work is exhausting, when the challenges seem insurmountable, and when you feel like giving up. Comfort will tempt you to quit, to rest, to avoid the struggle, but purpose reminds you why you started. Purpose fuels endurance, sustains motivation, and creates resilience that comfort can never provide. Here's another hook: win. When you align your decisions with purpose, discomfort becomes a signpost, not a stop sign. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you overcome reinforces that you are on the right path. Consider the people who have achieved greatness. They did not seek comfort. They embraced challenges, endured long hours, made sacrifices, and chose the harder path because they understood that purpose always outweighs temporary ease. They acted not because it felt good, but because it was necessary. That is the distinction between someone who drifts through life and someone who commands their destiny. Purpose is the compass that ensures you don't settle for less than you are capable of achieving. Here's the final hook for this truth. Comfort is the enemy of legacy. It whispers lies of delay, avoidance, and hesitation. Purpose demands courage, consistency, and action. When you prioritize purpose over comfort, you build a life of significance, influence, and impact that no temporary ease could ever deliver. Purpose will guide you through the storms, discomfort will test you, but your commitment to something greater than yourself will always propel you forward beyond the boundaries that comfort tries to impose. Consistency is one of the most overlooked powers in the journey to success. Many people wait for a breakthrough moment, a spark of inspiration, or a perfect opportunity to take action. But life rarely works that way. The truth is that success is not born out of occasional brilliance. It is built through repeated effort, day after day, even when results are not immediately visible. Here's the hook. Consistency creates momentum. And momentum is the engine that propels you past obstacles, doubt, and fear. Small, disciplined actions, compounded over time, produce outcomes far greater than sporadic bursts of effort ever could. Think about it. Most people give up because they underestimate the power of showing up consistently. They wait for motivation to strike, or they take one bold step and then stop, expecting instant results. That's a dangerous trap. Momentum is not generated by a single action. It is cultivated through persistence. Every day that you do what is necessary, every task you complete, even when it is difficult, builds energy, confidence, and progress that cannot be faked or rushed. Here's a hook. Consistency doesn't just create results, it creates belief in yourself. Because each small step proves that you are capable of following through. Consider the analogy of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it is small and almost insignificant. But with each rotation, it gains size, speed, and power. By the time it reaches the bottom, it has grown into an unstoppable force. Your actions work the same way. Every consistent effort, no matter how minor it seems at the moment, accumulates and compounds, turning into momentum that carries you forward. Momentum reduces the friction of resistance, makes challenges easier to overcome, and creates a rhythm of progress. That is almost automatic. That is the secret many people miss. Consistency is the multiplier of success. Here's another hook. The people who achieve extraordinary results don't rely on luck or inspiration. They rely on consistency. They show up when others sleep, work when others rest, and persist when others quit. They understand that talent and intelligence are valuable, but without consistent effort, they are wasted. Consistency is what separates dreamers from achievers, those who talk about goals from those who actually reach them. It is the invisible force that compounds over time, producing results that feel almost magical to those watching from the outside. Consistency also builds trust, both in yourself and with others. Every time you follow through, you reinforce your own reliability. You teach your mind and body that you are committed and capable. People notice, opportunities open, and doors begin to appear that were once invisible. Here's the hook. Consistency is the foundation of credibility. Without it, your talent, ideas, and intentions are powerless. With it, your impact becomes undeniable. It's important to realize that consistency doesn't mean perfection. You may stumble, make mistakes, or have days when you fall short. That's natural. What matters is the habit of returning, the commitment to keep going, and the refusal to allow temporary setbacks to derail your long-term vision. Momentum is not built overnight. It is built through resilience, repeated effort, and the decision to act even when circumstances are imperfect. Each step forward, repeated consistently, strengthens your position and accelerates your journey toward success. Here's a final hook. Consistency is the secret weapon of those who achieve the extraordinary. Motivation fades. Talent has limits. Ideas without action are meaningless. But consistent action compounds, multiplies, and transforms your life in ways you cannot imagine. Each day you show up, you build momentum. Each step you take, no matter how small, propels you forward. Consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary outcomes, and it turns potential into undeniable results. Every person faces moments in life where a choice must be made. Some decisions seem small, almost insignificant, while others feel monumental, life-defining. But here's the hook. Every decision, no matter the size, sends ripples into your future. Your destiny is not determined by luck, circumstances, or feelings. It is determined by the decisions you make consistently. Too many people live in a reactive state, allowing emotions, external pressures, or indecision to dictate their path. That is why so many dreams remain unfulfilled. The truth is simple. Your decisions, not your feelings or your fears, shape the trajectory of your life. Think about the people who have achieved extraordinary success. Did they always feel confident? Did they always know the perfect course of action? No. They made decisions, often in uncertainty, often in discomfort, and then they acted. Decisions are not about waiting for the perfect moment. They are about taking responsibility for your life and committing to action despite doubt. Here's another hook. Every moment you hesitate, every choice you defer is a moment your future drifts further from your vision. Indecision is a thief of destiny, and decisive action is the bridge to achievement. Decisions are powerful because they create direction. Without them, you drift. You allow circumstances, other people's opinions, or fleeting emotions to pull you off course. But when you make a conscious decision, you establish a point of focus. That focus generates momentum, clarity, and confidence. Each decision becomes a building block toward your ultimate goals. Every time you decide to act in alignment with your purpose, you reinforce the trajectory of your life and build the architecture of your destiny. That is the difference between those who live reactive lives and those who live intentionally. Here's the hook. Most people underestimate the compound effect of decisions. A single choice to work harder, to learn more, to push past fear, or to take responsibility might seem minor in the moment, but repeated over time, it transforms your entire life. Small, consistent decisions shape habits. Habits shape character. Character shapes destiny. The chain reaction begins with a single decision and grows exponentially with every intentional choice you make. This is why decisiveness is one of the most powerful traits of high achievers. Another critical truth is that your decisions define your freedom. Waiting for clarity, waiting for motivation, waiting for permission, or waiting for the perfect time is surrendering your power to external forces. The moment you choose to decide and act, you reclaim control of your life. You become the author of your own story, rather than a passive observer. Here's a hook. Your destiny is not found, it is built, one deliberate decision at a time. The quality and courage of your choices determine the richness and impact of your life. Consider the role of risk in decision-making. Fear often convinces people to play it safe, to avoid making choices that could challenge them, or to settle for mediocrity. But those who achieve greatness understand that risk is not something to avoid, it is something to manage and embrace. Each courageous decision to step out of comfort, to pursue growth, and to act despite uncertainty is a vote for your future. A declaration that you refuse to let circumstances or fear dictate your life. Here's a final hook. Your destiny is being written today, not tomorrow. Every decision you make, even the small ones, either moves you closer to your vision or further away. Waiting for feelings, waiting for perfect conditions, or waiting for external validation will keep you stuck. Action rooted in decisive choice is the vehicle that propels you forward. Your future is shaped by the commitment you make to decide, to act, and to persist. Every decision matters, and every decision compounds, ultimately determining whether you live a life of mediocrity or a life of extraordinary purpose, influence, and success. So let me close with this. Your future is shaped by what you do daily, not by what you feel occasionally. Decide today that your feelings will be passengers, not drivers. Walk in discipline, walk in purpose, walk in truth. Because when feelings no longer control you, your future finally becomes unstoppable.